Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, Moss Crossings. I'm Moss, and today I'm coming to you in the most fairy-like attire that I could muster because we're working on the fairy forest today. I'm really excited about this build. I'm so happy with how it turned out, and I feel like it's really a step outside of my comfort zone. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. A good portion of this build is actually going to be waterscaping, and I feel like I say this in every speed build, but genuinely I went into this with no plan at all. It was vibes only. The only plan that I really had going into this was that I wanted to fill in the area behind these cliffs that the town neighborhood is on. I wanted to fill them in with water because that's kind of one of my little decorating hacks that I like to use, is that the areas behind cliffs can be pretty hard to decorate because it's hard to actually see them. So I like to just fill them up with water and forget about it. And so I don't have to worry about putting anything back there. I will say I think that I should have put more water behind those cliffs. I think that I probably should have moved this whole build back just a little bit, because in the end, the stuff that's on top of those cliffs in the top tier of the neighborhood does obscure Tia's area like a little bit. It's not really a big deal. It's just kind of annoying, and I wish I had moved this build back just a little bit. But it's really whatever. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned in the beginning, but I'm working on Tia's house today. Not her house, but I'm moving her house into the woods and giving her her domain in this forest. She's gonna be on kind of a little tiny man-made island. Yeah, she's gonna have a whole sort of little domain here. She's gonna be on a little island, and it's gonna be connected to another tiny island. Basically, there's just gonna be a lot of water and some land, and Tia will be there. I didn't go too far into waterscaping up in the second tier. I just wanted to add at least the beginnings of a water source for this whole area. But CJ was really testing my patience today, especially when I accidentally talked to him and I had to wait 18 hours to get through his whole monologue. I still love him though. Still love him. He's still my favorite NPC. He was just really in the way today. This is pretty much Tia's island right here in the middle of all these streams. So I'm going to start actually placing things down finally. This whole sort of mood board of items that I've laid down over there is a combination of things I wanted to use for Tia's area as well as Sprinkle's area. I was originally planning on doing both of their houses in one build, and because I wasn't really sure what of this furniture I was going to use for Tia and what was going to be for Sprinkle, I definitely wanted to use some frozen items in Sprinkle's area. But this video ended up being pretty long, even just decorating around Tia's place. So at this point, I haven't started working on Sprinkle's area yet, but hopefully I'm going to get to it really soon because I do want to finish up all of my winter-oriented builds in the next couple weeks or so. For some reason, I just have this habit of giving myself really small and awkwardly shaped spaces to work with, and I don't have to do that, but I do, and I don't know why. Okay, here's the thing. I don't have a real backstory for Tia the way that I do for Stitches right now. I do want to think of a more complex story for her, but I was thinking about the fact that she and Stitches are both kind of like inanimate objects made into living beings kind of thing. Like she's a teapot, he's a stuffed bear. So I was just sort of vaguely going with this idea of a similar vibe to Stitches, where I had a lot of sewing stuff and a lot of stuffed animals around his house. I'm putting a lot of like ceramic stuff around Tia's house, and I don't know exactly what I'm trying to communicate with that, but just sort of a vaguely creepy vibe, because you're like, okay, this like villager, like this living, speaking, intelligent being looks like a teapot, but also she has a bunch of teapots around her house and a bunch of like jars and ceramic stuff. So like, what's going on with that? Maybe you can think of some theories for the Fair Falls cinematic universe. This build is also where I started using dropped cupcakes and dropped candies just to like add to this overall like cute but kind of creepy vibe where it's like, where's this trail of cupcakes and candy leading me? I don't think I can trust this. Why is there just a cupcake sitting in the middle of the forest? What's going on? This is where I really started to realize how much these cliffs were obscuring the view of what I was building, and I tried to mitigate that as much as I could, but the effectiveness of my strategy was limited. I also worked a little in this build on the actual area on top of this cliff, even though it's not part of the forest, it's part of the neighborhood, but I was in the area, so I worked on it a little bit. I also worked a little bit on this transitional area between Stitch's and Tia's respective areas. Here I'm making a little picnic area in the neighborhood that actually looks out onto Tia's area in the forest. It's not a perfect view. It's not like a great lookout point. I didn't plan it, but I do kind of like it. I like the idea that you can be in the very like normal human neighborhood, but actually be able to look out onto the like weird fairy forest. I had been meaning to add a fruit basket somewhere in this area because I wanted to sort of evoke the idea of like fairy fruit, you know, like you eat the fairy fruit and you never leave kind of thing. It's a little bit ominous, but it's also cute. Don't even worry about it, man. It's fine. Don't think about it. I was determined to use the mermaid fence in this build because I think it's so cute, but it didn't really work naturally in any particular part of this build, so I really just shoehorned it in here because I just think it's so cute. Yeah, we're finally done with this build, so I'm going to go ahead and give you a walkthrough starting with the entrance to the forest since I made a little bit of finishing touches to that. And I just wanted to give you the full effect of like walking into this forest and getting deeper and deeper and things getting a little bit weirder as you go along. That's the build, y'all. I had a great time making this, and if you liked watching it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I would love to have you here. Yeah, I hope that y'all have a great day. I hope that you're doing well, and I will see you very soon in a new video. Bye-bye.